great city and of this great county. I think we are here because what happened to Mr. Floyd, Mrs. Breonna Taylor, and several of the others that have just happened within the past several weeks have awakened our conscience and awakened our minds that we have a long way to go. What I love about this particular gathering here is that we have people from different ethnicities, different cultures. And this is the time that we're focusing on all lives matter, but especially today, and in this particular time, we are focusing on Black Lives Matter. I don't think we can really understand the plight of blacks that have been in this country if we do not revisit the past and have open dialogue about the injustices that have taken place since the beginning of this country. When you look at the Constitution, and the Constitution says, we the people of the United States, to form a more perfect union, to establish justice, to ensure domestic tranquility, to promote and provide all of the welfare of this country, as well as to seek the blessed liberty for ourselves and to our posterity. This is the ordination and this is the ordinances for the Constitution of this great country. And what happened was, right in the article, the first article, they had this little tab in there that says 3/5 of free individuals, or 3/5. Notice there was no mark or no mention of slavery, but it was implied. And what they did was they didn't say that African Americans was 3/5 of an individual. They just said that out of every 5 slaves, 3 would be considered, regarding the population, to help drive the Senate or help drive the House of Representatives and the white slave masters so they can have the penetration in the White House to make legislation and to make laws.
Right on. Teach it.
I have to tell you that on our currency in the beginning, on our currency, there was this term called e pluribus unum. Out of many, we are supposed to be one. The aspirational goal of that was out of many nationalities, out of many ethnicities, out of many cultures coming into this country, we should be as one people. We should have one mind. We should be together. And we found out that even in this year, 2020, that is not the case. We have a long way to go. I like what was said just a few minutes ago, because we all have circles of influence. And I have to tell you, I've read Malcolm X, I've read about Dr. Martin Luther King, I've read about Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, I've read about some of the great Black African Americans who have made an impact in this country. But I have to tell you, I have to go through all of that. I'm not going to quote any of them. I'm going to quote the words of the blessed Jesus Christ, who said, the greatest commandment that you can do is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your might. And then he said, the second is like unto itself. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Let me explain what that means, because there was a lawyer who said, well, good master, who is my neighbor? And Jesus began to speak a parable. He said there was a man that went from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and he fell among thieves, and they beat him up, they wounded him, they left him there half dead. And a priest came by and went on the other side. A Levite came by and went on the other side. But a Samaritan came by, came near to where he was, put oil and water, oil and wine in his wounds, got a tourniquet, fixed and stopped the bleeding, put him on the donkey, and then put him into the inn, and then told the keeper of the inn, he said, whatever, I'm giving you 2 days' wages, and whatever else it is to take care of him, I'm going to take up that charge. Just put it on my account. And so Jesus asked the question, he says, which one of these three is the neighbor of the person who fell among thieves? And the lawyer said, it was the one who showed compassion. And this is what Jesus said. Jesus says, go and do thou likewise. So the question is, who is your neighbor? Is your neighbor the person that's living next door to you? Is the person your neighbor that sits in your same community? I would beg to differ that your neighbor is whoever you come in contact with. That is your neighbor. And you are supposed to do to your neighbor just like you would do to your God. To close because we are here in Village Hall. And if you notice, in every country, every society, every community, there are 7 mind molders. These mind molders make up the family, it makes up the religious community, it makes up the educational community, the business community, it makes up the media, the government, and arts and entertainment. And here we are surrounded by the government. We are surrounded across the street by the library, which represents the entertainment. We're represented by the school, the education. We have the church over there. That's the religious community. What I'm asking you is, in our circle of influence, let's love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy might, and with all thy soul. And then let's love thy neighbor as thyself, which means that if you see somebody that's hurt, if you see a culture that has been knocked down, if you hear the frustration of the riots in the streets, if you see their pain and you can experience their pain and have any kind of compassion, let's not just tweet about it. Let's not just talk about it, but how about we just be about it? Go and do thou likewise. Thank you.